Lali-ho everyone, and welcome to a little side project that I'd like to call me being incredibly stupid. You're staring at a black screen with a pause on it because I'm kind of doing post-commentary on something that I recorded. I'm just going to go ahead and unpause it and let it play. Yes, I'm recording, so I can do the voiceover. So sue me. So you might notice that this is Final Fantasy XIV, Realm Reborn. And I had this inkling that what if you tried to solo basically everything? So this is this is the little character I made. Don't mind the constant tapping there. I do that a few times. This is me soloing. It's really weird watching this. Sliverhand is a character that I had on Final Fantasy XI, and he was one of my side characters that I just took out and soloed with for fun. And so I figured it'd be a great means of attempting this. Now, the idea is I'm going to go as far as I can through the main storyline, doing any quests that I come across, and doing as minimal grinding as possible. Now, grinding specifies as fate farming, or levy farming, anything like that in order to get experience doing the same thing over and over again. I can't dungeon grind because in order to do undersized party, you get 0 EXP. So it's not very, how do I put it? It's because I'm getting no EXP here. The only time I get EXP is at the end of the dungeon. So normally, dungeons are one of your main EXP farms. Like, you can go through a dungeon into this level at least. Go through a dungeon and gain like a level and a half or 2 levels. So I don't have that. I do have the end experience, the bonus for completing it, and that turns out to be nice. The reason I'm using Marauder, as you may have noticed the MRD down there, that is because Marauder gets self-heals. And it's a tank character. So this game has 3 major types with the types of classes, with the excuse me, DPS being broken down into 3 more. You have your tanks, which are Marauder, which becomes Warrior, Gladiator, which becomes Paladin, and then the other 2 are more advanced jobs that don't have a starting class, and that's Dark Knight and Gunbreaker. Then you have your healers. They only have 1 starter healer, technically, and that is Conjurer, which becomes White Mage. I was trying to see if that was possible for me to just grab one, but unfortunately no. That whole room is 1 bundle of monsters. I also typed in say which one it was. You may have noticed that I went to the memo in the opening of the dungeon and got the color off of the memo. That's actually a thing for the dungeon mechanic normally, but I'll explain dungeon mechanics as we come to them. And in fact, I even learned dungeon mechanics that I didn't know about. I have this being thank you, English, a post-recording. I have done more than this. And I plan on recording them in live time, but unfortunately, at the time that I did this, my pass-through was currently linked to my Switch still, because I was still doing Saga Frontier. This is just a little side project for in-between times. Now, I will go ahead and make a notation. I will get back to the job explanations, but I really need to have something important. This video is actually 2-in-1 because my video recording stops mid-fight. That's because of PlayStation's record function being set to 15 minutes at first, and I forgot that it was still set to 15 minutes. On the previous PS4, I had changed it to 1 hour, and that wasn't the case anymore, so oops. So I will have to change the video, and it's not for a bit now, but I just wanted to bring that up. Now, the explanation as far as the jobs go, you have Conjurer, which is White Mage, and then you have your 2 advanced classes. Technically, Scholar comes from Arcanist, but Arcanist is a DPS, so it's the only one to date that changes its role. But it has a DPS job as well, so... the 3rd healer is Astrologian, and we are going to be getting Sage in the next expansion. Then you have your DPS class, which falls under melee DPS, which is Monk, or Pugilist, which becomes Monk, Lancer, which becomes Dragoon, and... what's the other melee? Samurai. Oh, and Rogue, which becomes Ninja. And then I believe Reaper, which is the class we're waiting on for also the expansion, is also going to be melee DPS, from what I understand. Anyway, then you have your ranged physical DPS, which are Archer, which is Bard, and then you have Machinist, and I feel like there's another one. What is it? Dancer. So all those are ranged physical, and you have ranged magical, which goes into Thaumaturge, which becomes Black Mage, Arcanist's main transfer, which is Summoner, and then Red Mage. Those are the main jobs. Then you have your limited job, which is Blue Mage. We won't get into that, because that's a whole other discussion. But I chose Marauder because it was the only starting job that I felt had enough survival potential to be able to go through. And the reason for this is, I needed someone that could do enough burst damage that I could kill things quickly, which leaves out White Mage for a long time. Now, late White Mage actually has some attack power to it, so it's not that big of a deal. But early game, not so much. Plus, it doesn't have survivability, but I'll get into that in a minute. So, burst damage, Black Mage does decent damage, but unfortunately, it is way more fragile. And I know from personal experience that soloing things on Black Mage, even whenever your mini level's higher than it, is still a pain. So, Thaumaturge and Conjurer route. Archer is a close potential. I figured out that you could actually skip those. That the clam doesn't aggro with the Shade Seekers, so I was able to actually skip that instead. I did never do that. Never knew it. So Archer Bard has potential, but the problem it has is it's squishy. Very squishy. Now, it can outrun most enemies and do its damage while kiting, but having to kite every single battle is not actually fun by any stretch of the imagination. I really need to remember not to tap the button so repeatedly. That's actually getting on my nerves. Maybe I'll turn down the game audio for a second. Hold up, because that is... Let me turn that down just a touch. And I can barely hear it. Well, it reduced the bing noise. Alright. Still there, but it's not as bad. Anywho, let me actually... Yeah. There, now it's at least not echoing quite so bad. Anyway, so Bard has potential, but it's very squishy. So Archer was out of the question. Lancer and Pugilist both come to mind, but again, Pugilist is not quite as squishy as the others that I've mentioned, but it still takes a fair amount of damage until it gets Fists of Earth, and I don't know that I could make it that far, actually. Lancer is possible. It does have a little bit more self-heal than Monk, because Pugilist / Monk only has the same things that Lancer gets as well, as far as Bloodbath, or is it Bloodbath? I think it's Bloodbath. Which is Drain Hit, basically. It gives you Blood Weapon. And then they also get Second Wind, which is a self-heal that, honestly, it's really not that helpful, to be honest with you. But I thought, okay, well, what about the tanks? The tank characters are probably the best for long-term soloing like this. And so I thought, okay, your starting tanks are Paladin and Paladin and Warrior, which are Marauder and Gladiator. So which of the two would be better? And I started thinking about, okay, self-heals. The only self-heal Paladin gets... Oh yeah, I was checking the map to see if I had to go that way, and I found out I didn't, so I don't. Because I couldn't... Honestly, it's been a long time since I ever had to think about anything in this dungeon. Usually you just mindlessly run through, kill everything, and it is what it is, you know? But here I had to actually stop and think about every movement, because if I just dive straight into all those Shade Seekers, I may not die, but I will take a lot more damage than I need to. And if I can get by without having to fight the clam... I don't actually remember if I have to fight the clam. I think I skip it. Yeah, there we go. I actually can just slide off there. And of course, green was the color, so you check the green coral. It's random. It'll either say, like, Captain likes his wine red, or Captain likes his sea blue. Captain likes his cabbage green, I think it is. I think that's the one that I got. And welcome to the first boss, Chopper. But yeah, ultimately it boiled down to Paladin gets one self-heal at level 56. And while it can use that self-heal multiple times because it's a spell, up until that point, Paladin has no healing whatsoever. So I would be guzzling potions more so than I do now already. And that's a very scary thought. Warrior, however, gets a combo that while it does not heal a lot, it's a little bit of healing, and a little bit more healing, and a little bit more healing every time you finish the combo. And that small amount of healing is actually very important. Also, Warrior has a larger health pool, although Paladin has a higher defense, so that part kind of evens out between the two. But in this case, I honestly believe that Warrior's going to have the one up. The thing about that is Paladin does have the better ultimate ability. Because each tank has like this ultimate defense button. And Warrior's kind of sucks. Like, that's probably going to be the biggest problem, is if I ever have to hit the O button, I don't have one really for Warrior. Holmgang, when I finally do get it, if I get that far, is not that great of a defensive tool. I can go ahead and explain as to why I don't think it's a very helpful thing. Although, it's right after this that the feed cuts out, so I'm going to have to be ready to swap over to the other thing here. In fact, it's in the middle of this fight up here around the corner, I believe. Yeah, it's in the middle of this fight. Can't remember exactly when it cuts out, but it cuts out here. But anyway. Yeah, I was potioning early to make sure I had enough HP to survive this three enemy group. also using stun in multiple enemies because every, okay, Trey has just stopped. Okay. So 1 second, I'm going to pause the feed. And we are back, although that would have been literally just a flash for you guys. So I have it paused again. I finally got it recording after the fight. I did survive the scurvy dogs. Do I stop and go into the menu, or did I already do that? I may have already done that. Yeah, I've already gone into the menu and reset the recording length. So this is the second boss, technically. It happens very quickly after the first boss, but it's more of a mini-boss. In fact, most of the bosses here are mini-bosses, because there's nothing really that big that happens in them. So back to my explanation. Holmgang is a chain. It chains your target, pulls them to you, and binds both you and them. It forces a duel situation. It also forces them to target you, if I'm not mistaken. So that part's pretty cool, right? Well, the idea is that it forces your enemy to target only you and prevents you from dying so long as it's active. Note that it prevents you from dying, not prevents you from taking damage. So the only time you can make use of it is when you're almost dead and you have no means of healing. Or you're almost dead, you're waiting for your potion or heals to exit their recast. So there are situations where I might let myself get down that low and then potion out of near death if in the event that I can time that, but I don't foresee that being helpful. Whereas Paladin ends up getting hollowed ground, which is literally invincible from Final Fantasy XI. You take 0 damage for the duration. The difference is it actually blocks magic, because Final Fantasy XI's invincible didn't. But anyway, so that's why I chose to try this with Marauder instead of Gladiator. Because even though Hollowed Ground is better than Holmgang, being able to heal with my main combo and having 2 other self-heals, Thrill of Battle and... what's it called? I actually found out about this one because I didn't know about this one. My main's warrior is actually level 60, so I just got it not that long ago. It's Equilibrium. It's learned at the same level as Paladin's Clemency, the healing spell. And it is a one-time use healing on yourself. Now here, I'm actually trying to see if I can avoid fights. So I'm kind of scoping out the area and trying to see if there was a way around, and I see that there's no way going that way. I will not be able to get out going that way. And then I saw this path, I was like, oh hey, maybe I can go this way. And it's like, well, there's enemies over there, but okay, let's see if we can go through this way. And so I take the long way up here to get a better view and see, okay, it's 3 enemies on one side, 2 enemies on the other. If I kill the 2, I can just skip past the 3. And fewer enemies means less damage and faster battle. So you'll see a lot of these situations, actually. Well, I say that. Again, this is assuming I can get anywhere with this. Is this stupid? Yes. Absolutely. I don't know if anyone was asking that question, because I'm sure it was obvious, but I want to reiterate. Don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. I'm not going to be recording outside of dungeon areas, but I did mention that I was going to do all my quests, so what I'm trying to do is, if I get to an area, I do all the quests there. There is one area that I did, even the level 1 quests, I got there during the, what's it called? The Envoy quest line, which is the quests that have you leave your hometown and go to the other hometowns via airship and go talk to their leader, then leave. So there was one area, I did all the quests in a specific area of that. I think it was Gridania, actually. And I was like, you know what? I'm getting minuscule amounts of EXP to the point it's not even worth it. I don't think I'm going to do the level 1 quests, at least. You do have to fight this battle because this battle, I think it's the person. It might be the dog, but one of these two drop a key for the big door in the front. So when okay, it was the person. So the way that it's going to work is outside of dungeon, I'm only doing fates as I come to them. I'm not fate grinding, but if I happen to be in an area for another thing via a quest or the hunting log or anything like that, if I happen to be crossing it and a fate is there, I will do it. As well as I'm going to do levy quests if, for example, when you first get to an area that you're of the level, there will be a quest on the levy person to open up levy quests in that area. I will do that quest. I'm hoping to avoid using levy quests beyond that, but that's the general idea, is that, you know, if I go through an area at level, I'm level 15 or higher, and I go to Horizon, I think it's Horizon, it's the 15 one, it has, you know, quests, guild levies for insert name here. I'll do that quest, which is a levy, and then once you complete that levy and turn it in, it also turns in the quest. So I will be doing those quests to unlock levies in the event I need them. Ultimately, the idea is if I run into a flat wall, like a wall that I just cannot surmount without tons of grinding, because I would consider that a loss. Also, hilariously, my guildmates logging in and out of alts. I actually decided to go ahead and fight that group, I believe, because that way I would be able to reserve my cooldowns, because I'm needing my cooldowns for a multi-fight more than I am for the big guy in the doorway there. So, because past them is a boss, so I want to have my cooldowns and potions and all that ready for the boss behind them. So I want to go ahead and defeat them. So if I need reprisal here, like that, then I'll have it up by the time I beat them. Or by the time I get to the boss. Because I shouldn't need reprisal, at least, during the fight inside the room there. I actually missed Heavy Swing. I didn't even notice that. Oh no, they missed Heavy Swing. I was looking at the wrong thing. Anyway, let me think. Words are hard. Post commentary is actually kind of annoying, and I'm glad I only did this for 2 dungeons. Spoiler alert, I guess, but post commentary itself is kind of spoiler alert, honestly. Anyway, God, I was explaining something and it just flew out the window. There's the kind of a sub-boss. He's not even really worth calling a mini-boss. He's literally just a buffed-up enemy. He has overpower. When enemies use overpower, it's very easy to dodge because it creates a cone in front of them, and you can just kind of walk behind them. It's nothing. He does have heavy swing, and it's stronger than their heavy swing, but he's really not that worth mentioning anything about. Anyway, so yeah, I was explaining outside dungeons. So a fail state for this self-imposed challenge would be having to rely on grinding several levels. Like, if I'm almost, say I get level 49 and I really need level 50, grinding level 50 wouldn't be a failure state. However, if I'm level 49 and I need to be 60, that's a failure state, because there is no way that I would be able to grind to 60. So I'm expecting a massive... I have to get a massive gap before I hit the level 50 quests, because the key part about the level 50 quests, meaning the end of 2.0 all the way to 2.5, they're all level 50. But the quests don't give you any XP. So only amount of EXP I'm getting is from monster deaths themselves and from surrounding quests that aren't level 50. There's another caveat to this, and this is something I need to go ahead and get out of the way. Whenever Shadowbringers entered, I think it was 5.3, on patch 5.3, they made the Alliance raids required. Now, even if I wanted to, even if they would let me in, I could not solo the Alliance raids due to their mechanics alone. You can trio them, technically, but you can't get into with only 3 people because you have to have alliances. So the minimum amount of people you can get into them with is like 6 people. You have to have, like, I think you can make 3 parties of 2 people each and link together. I'm not going through that, okay? I will just find a group with the Alliance raids. The downside on this is I will get EXP from doing that, but even if I level up, I don't think... If I make it to the point of needing to do the Alliance raids, I believe I've earned that amount of EXP. And the reason I say that is this. You have to complete all of the level 50 quest lines up to the point of going to Ishgard. Oh yeah, I kite here. Because he's actually doing enough damage to me that I need to kind of run away and let my potion recharge just a little bit. He's slow enough that he stops to do certain attacks. Only ones that he stops to do, I think, are the one he blinds you with. I want to say it's just the blind attack, actually. He's like, what do you see now? Nothing at all. He says it in like a little speech bubble above him. He doesn't do it at the start, though. But he does still run slower than the player does, ever so slightly. But to match up with that, he also... Oh, there, see, he did that. Accuracy down. He does stop a moment to do that. But the downside with that is that he also runs a straight line to you. So, as you circle the room, he does close in on you because of the rounded corners. So kiting only is efficient to a point. And as Warrior, it's really not that efficient. The only time it helps me is when I'm waiting for cooldowns, namely Potion. So yeah, my idea is that if I can manage to make it through all of the level 50 trials and dungeons solo, then the little bit of EXP that I get from running 3 Alliance raids is earned. That's not the first wall I'm expecting. I haven't completed the first trial as of date recording this, so I have no idea how that trial is going to go. Like, I'm right in front of it. I actually am. Before I do it, I'm actually going to do the optional dungeon to get a little more EXP, because while the dungeon itself doesn't get me EXP, the ending, completing it will. So I am going to complete the side dungeon if I can. If I fail it, it's fine because it's a side dungeon, it's not required. And I can always do it later for the EXP. And that's the kind of way I'm taking it. Now, that's actually something else I should go ahead and mention. The side dungeons, the dungeons you don't have to do to complete the main storyline. How am I handling those? Well, the first one you get is Halatali. Halatali is level 20. And what I'm going to do is, when I first get to the dungeon, I first unlock it, I can't beat it, I will come back to it later whenever I feel I can. It is optional, and the whole idea is that if I run into a roadblock, say, for example, I managed to make it past this trial, if I get to the dungeon after that, and I get roadblocked, then if I haven't already been able to defeat Halatali, then I can go back and defeat Halatali, get a little more EXP there, and maybe be able to complete it. I want to complete Halatali next, but in the event I can't, I have backup. I can use it as a backup option. So that's the way the side dungeons are. I'm still going to record them, because the side dungeons, honestly, have some of the more interesting mechanics for boss fights. Kind of why I love this game is the boss fights for the boss fight mechanics. There's some of the mechanics that are really annoying, And there's one of the mechanics that I honestly don't feel I'm going to be able to beat. There's another wall that I'm waiting to hit. I know where it is. I know I'm going to hit it, and I'm not going to be able to get past it, but I don't even know if I'm going to get there. So we'll have to see. The only way I can get past it is to literally overpower it. And I just don't see that happening. But if I can get there, if I can get to that roadblock, then I will consider it quite far, because that roadblock's not for a while. As it stands, though, you may also notice up there in the top corner that I have the EXP buff and the damage buff from the free company. Yes, I am using that, because it is tools that a new player would have if they joined a free company. Now, I am not, and this is, you may notice my gil and my armor. My armor looks like crap. My gil is very low. I'm not sending myself anything. I'm not, like, sending over armor. I'm not sending over money. I'm not sending over, food. I will buy it off the auction house, or market board, whatever you want to call it. I will buy it from the market if I can afford it, but I'm not going to send it or purchase anything for this character. The potions were really cheap on my server. In fact, I think these potions, I don't even think I bought those potions. I think I actually got those potions from the quest lines. But I do buy potions later. If I did buy potions, I didn't buy very many. You get a lot of potions. If you choose the potion instead of the ether rewards, you actually get a crap ton of potions from doing the quests. And I even did, because I did the level 1 to 8, 10 quests in Gridania, I got even more potions than what I would normally have. So, I think I did buy a few, but I didn't buy many. And note, when I say I will buy things on market board, I'm trying to avoid buying armor. So I don't have +1 armor, and I don't think I showed off my armor here. But most of my armor is the brand new armor that you get for doing the, what's it called? The New Adventurers thing. And the axe, the rest of it, the headpiece and the axe are from my level 20 job quest, or class quest. The class quest and the job quests are going to be vital, because they do usually give you some sort of armor, even if it's just the weapon, to keep you going, at least up to 50, I think it is. I tried to slip past these, and I even triggered the cutscene, but one of them saw me, because they are, I skipped this cutscene. They are sight-based, and one of them saw me, or I bumped into one of them. So I wasn't able to skip this fight as much as I wanted to. But I did already spawn the boss, so... Den the Orca-Toothed. Although we won't fight him just yet. Because I don't want to run into the boss fight with these guys in tow. Now, one key factor that I also don't have access to. Limit breaks. So as tank, my limit break wouldn't be very helpful anyway. But you have to have 4 party members in order to use limit break. So I cannot use limit break solo. I just can't. That means that when it comes to, the last bit of damage or trying to survive a big hit, I don't have that as an option. So, normally in a party, you would use the limit break to try to finish off an opponent. Well, not really finish. You want to do as much... So, proper limit break. Proper limit break timing is you want to do as much damage as possible with it. And a lot of times you end up saving it for late in the fight. That's actually not the best way of doing it. The only time that becomes a helpful thing is if you can manage to get your second limit break bar full. But with these early dungeons especially, that doesn't really happen. So if you want to burst it at like 50% or something, then you can. I usually, with this guy, I save the limit break for his third ad set. Now, normally, you see these unnatural ripples. If you're in a party, you can ignore that mechanic. Because even in minimum item level, you can do enough damage to him to skip all but the last phase. The last ad phase, if you're doing an actual like synced, a level sync minimum item level run, you do want to actually hit that just to make it easier. But for the most part, if you're just doing a normal leveling roulette or it's your first time through it, just focus the boss, ignore the mechanic in this case, because it will not matter. If the ads do manage to spawn, he'll almost be dead. That's just how easy he is. But in my case, by myself, I don't feel that I can damage rush him down that fast. I just noticed there's a purple field back in the back there. Why is that the case? That's weird. So I spin it around my camera and I see the unnatural ripples here. So I pop it and that gets rid of one of the ads. There's still a second one, and I noticed it a little late. So I was like, well, I'm not going to run to it now until the enemy spawns. Enemy spawned, I bolt over there, and I focus. I try to burn down that ad as soon as possible, because the faster I kill the ad, that's one less enemy hitting me. I hope I finished all my main thoughts. I honestly don't believe I did. If I forgot to say anything, someone let me know. I will try to explain anything I can in, any comments. If anyone wants to add comments, feel free to tell me how dumb this of an idea this is. I'm still going to do it anyway, but just, feel free to tell me. But I'll also kind of be using this as kind of a miniature walkthrough for the dungeons I can beat. And who knows? Maybe if I hit a wall, I might have to end up partying it just to see if I can continue past it. Because there is one wall outside of the Alliance raids, because you have to do the Alliance raids. There's no way around it now. But outside of the Alliance raids for level 50, there is one other major wall that I'm thinking of, and I don't know if I'll be able to beat it, but I would like to still try past it, even if I can't. Because I think it'll be fun. And who knows, by the time I get there, maybe I can solo it. I don't foresee it happening, but it's a maybe. This boss is down to 40%. That was the second set of ads. There is one more set. I think I tried to get... I stun him here to give myself as much time as possible. And I use Sprint to, again, give myself as much time as possible. But I don't quite make it. I'm in the middle of interacting with it, and he stops me. And because he stopped me, it spawns the ad. And I was too close to it, so I got hit. There was only 5 damage, so that's not a big deal. So now I have 3 ads to deal with. This is a little hairy. I remember panicking a little bit here. Like, I was still like, okay, this is what I'm going to need to do since I couldn't get that. And I was on Discord chat with one of the people, actually, that have been logging in and out. I was kind of giving her a play-by-play. And you saw how low my HP got there. Like, holy crap. I have to start kiting here. Because the thing about Din or the Orca Tooth is, A, he is actually very slow. B, he stops to cast Hydra Ball. And I think he also stops to cast, or to do his thrust attack. Now, it still hits you. Unlike the Hydra Ball, it still hits you with the thrust. Because he does it as soon as he gets in range. True Thrust. When he goes through True Thrust, he always going to hit you as soon as he gets in range for it. But he stops to use it, which means once he hits you with True Thrust, you can move out of way. Or move out of range for his normal attacks. So, and Reprisal, I can't remember. Yeah, I did have to run. I have to run around to do one more potion. In fact, I think I run a little bit more. You see, I'm trying to spam Tomahawk because I knew he was going to get in range. He does do the same straight path attack or follow as Captain Morgan does. So that's just how NPCs do. If you've ever done any kind of programming or piddling around with AI, if they're tethered to you, they chase you directly. And they will take you know, you're running around in a circle, they're going to run straight for you regardless, so they will catch up to you eventually. And that's the... But a lot of times, enemies have different movement speeds, they have abilities they stop to cast, and if they stop to cast anything, that usually means you can get out of the way, and there we go. That is the completion. I skipped that because it was just him falling over and dying. I don't think I skipped them. I don't think I'm going to be skipping them, but yeah, there we have it. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoys this little project I have done for myself. I don't plan on... I'm gonna go ahead. I think the video. I end the video after I get outside, and I don't want to bring anyone except for my free company members into this. I'm gonna pause it there. Thank everyone for watching, because I enjoy making these little one-offs, and I believe that, yeah, see, my completion time was 40:03, and that was with me having to stop and fix the recording. So, I hope people enjoy watching this, at least get a kick out of how crazy I am. And I'll make a decision on the roadblocks as I come to them. If it comes too early, I'm just going to go ahead and drop it and let it go. But honestly, if I get to the two major roadblocks, the Alliance Raid and the other thing I'm thinking of, and I get roadblocked there and nowhere else, I honestly feel like I may take a mulligan on that. Like a do-over for... maybe a skip. Skip would be a better... I may take a skip on... Well, I know I am for the Alliance Raid if I get there, but the second thing is a story requirement that has been there, but there's a massive, massive mechanic I'm thinking of that made it difficult for me to solo it on Black Mage whenever I was just trying to do it for a quest. So, I will see if I get there, though. Until then, we hope to see you again, and until that's such a time. I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, later.